Most people have no idea what their financial insides actually look like. There's a number based on your age and income that tells the whole story. Today, we're going to calculate yours, understand it, and actually do something about it. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Do you actually know your net worth right now? Not roughly. Not, I think it's somewhere around. I mean down to the actual number. Assets minus liabilities. What you own minus what you owe. Most people, when they really stop and think about it, don't. And the ones who do know it, a lot of them wish they didn't look. Here's the thing. There's a number, a specific number calculated based on your exact age and income, that financial researchers use to determine whether you're on track to build real wealth, or whether you're quietly falling behind while life keeps moving forward. And this number doesn't care how nice your apartment is. It doesn't care what your salary looks like on paper. It doesn't care how many subscriptions you're paying for or what car you drive. It is the single most honest financial measurement available to any person at any income level, and almost nobody is talking about it. Today, we're going to change that. Before we get into the number, I want to paint you a picture, and I'm willing to bet this picture looks familiar. You're in your late 20s, or your 30s, maybe your early 40s. You have a job, maybe a decent one. You're not broke in the obvious sense. You pay your bills, you eat well, you have a phone that works and a place to live. On the surface, things look fine, but there's this low-level anxiety that never fully goes away. This quiet background noise that hums whenever you open your banking app, or whenever someone brings up retirement at a dinner party, or whenever you see a headline about what you're supposed to have. Saved by now. And the way most people deal with that anxiety, they don't. They close the app. They change the subject. They tell themselves they'll sort it out later, when things settle down, when they earn a bit more, when life stops being so expensive. The problem is, later has a way of becoming now, and now has a way of becoming too late. A 2023 survey by Bankrate found that 57% of American adults are uncomfortable with their level of emergency savings, more than half. And a Federal Reserve report found that nearly a quarter of adults have zero retirement savings whatsoever. Nothing. Not a small amount. Nothing. These aren't people who never earned any money. These are people who earned money for years and years, and somewhere along the way, the money just didn't stick. It came in, it went out, and the real number, never moved in the direction it needed to. So what is that number? And why has nobody sat you down and explained it properly? Let's start with what net worth actually is, because I think a lot of people have a fuzzy idea of it, and that fuzziness is part of the problem. Your net worth is not your salary. Your salary is what you earn. Your net worth is what you keep. Think of it this way. Imagine two guys. Marcus earns $95,000 a year. He drives a financed BMW, has $40,000 in student loans, $8,000 in credit card debt, rents his apartment, and has about $3,000 sitting in a checking account. Marcus feels pretty financially comfortable because the money coming in feels substantial. Then there's Jordan. Jordan earns $55,000 a year. He drives a paid-off Honda, has no credit card debt, owns his small condo with $60,000 in equity, and has $45,000 in an index fund. Jordan sometimes feels like he's not earning enough. Who's actually wealthier? Jordan by a significant margin. Jordan's net worth is somewhere around $105,000. Marcus, when you do the actual math, assets minus liabilities is close to zero, maybe negative. Same country, same economy, completely different financial realities. And the one who feels wealthier is actually the one who's further behind. This is one of the most dangerous illusions in personal finance, and income is the thing that creates it. High income makes people feel financially secure when they're not. And that false sense of security is exactly why so many high earners end up with nothing. Net worth is the truth behind the feeling. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and a little uncomfortable. Thomas Stanley and William Danko, the researchers behind the landmark book The Millionaire Next Door, developed a formula, a specific equation, designed to tell you whether your net worth is where it should be given your age and income. They called it the expected net worth formula, and it's brutally simple. You take your age, you multiply it by your gross annual income, then you divide by 10. That's it. That number is your expected net worth, the number you should be sitting at right now if you've been building wealth at a reasonable rate throughout your adult life. So if you're 35 years old and you earn $60,000 a year, 35 multiplied by 60,000 equals $2,100,000. Divide by 10. Your expected net worth is $210,000. Now, before you laugh or panic, stay with me, because this is where Stanley and Danko's research gets genuinely revealing. They divided people into 3 categories based on this formula. If your actual net worth is within range of that expected number, you're what they called an average accumulator of wealth. You're keeping pace. You're doing okay. If your net worth is double that expected number or more, you're a prodigious accumulator of wealth. You're ahead of the curve. You're building real, lasting financial independence. And if your net worth is significantly below that number, less than half, they called you an under-accumulator of wealth. And here's the finding that should stop you cold. In their research, the vast majority of high-income earners fell into this last category. The people earning the most were proportionally building the least wealth, not because they were unlucky, because of specific, predictable behavioral patterns that kept their money from sticking. Let me sit with that for a second because I think it's important. Most people assume that income is the engine of wealth. Earn more, have more. And that assumption is so deeply embedded in the way we think about money that it's almost invisible. We chase promotions and raises and higher paying jobs as if the money itself is the destination. But Stanley and Danko spent decades studying actual wealthy people, not rich-looking people, actual wealthy people, and what they found completely contradicted this assumption. The correlation between income and net worth was surprisingly weak. What predicted net worth most powerfully wasn't income, it was behavior. Specifically, the gap between what people earned and what they spent. They called it the prodigious accumulator profile, and the characteristics of these people were almost boringly consistent. They lived in modest homes relative to their income. They drove unremarkable cars. They didn't wear their wealth. They invested early, consistently, and automatically. And crucially, they knew their numbers. All of them. Net worth, savings rate, investment returns. They tracked it the way an athlete tracks their performance stats. Meanwhile, the underaccumulators, the people earning well but building nothing, shared their own consistent characteristics. They upgraded their lifestyle with every raise. They prioritized looking successful over being successful, and almost universally, they had no clear picture of their actual net worth. The number lived in a fog because looking at it clearly felt like too much. Here's a metaphor I want you to hold on to. Imagine you're flying a plane. You've got 2 instruments in front of you. One shows your airspeed, how fast you're going right now. That's your income. The other shows your altitude, how high above the ground you actually are. That's your net worth. A lot of people are flying fast and low, great airspeed, terrible altitude. And as long as they don't look at the altitude gauge, they can tell themselves everything is fine. The speed feels good. The motion feels like progress. But speed at low altitude, held long enough, ends one way. Your net worth is your altitude. It's the number that tells you whether everything you're doing is actually getting you somewhere or whether you're just moving fast at ground level. And the only way to change your altitude is to first know what it actually is. So let's talk about what actually drives net worth. Because once you understand the mechanics, the path forward becomes a lot less mysterious. There are essentially 4 levers, and most people are only pulling one of them. The first lever is income. Yes, it matters. More money coming in creates more potential, but as we've established, potential isn't the same as outcome. Income is the raw material. What you do with it determines everything. The second lever is savings rate. This is the percentage of your income that you actually keep and deploy toward wealth building. And this lever is dramatically more powerful than most people realize. A person earning $50,000 and saving 30% of it is building wealth faster than a person earning $120,000 and saving 5%. Not a little faster, significantly faster. Research published in the Journal of Financial Planning consistently shows that savings rate is the single strongest predictor of net worth accumulation across income levels. Not investment returns, not income growth. Savings rate. Why? Because savings rate is the one lever that is almost entirely within your control. The market can crash, your income can stall, but your decision about what percentage of each dollar you keep, that's yours. The third lever is time, and this one is non-negotiable. Compound growth requires time the way a fire requires oxygen. You can have all the fuel in the world, income, savings, great investments, but without time, the compounding never gets a chance to do its work. Here's what this means in practice. Someone who starts investing $300 a month at age 22 and stops completely at 32, 10 years, $36,000 total contributed, will end up with more money at 65 than someone who starts at 32 and invests $30 a month all the way through to 65. 33 years of contributions. Over $118,000 contributed. And they still lose to the person who started 10 years earlier and stopped. That's not a rounding error. That's compound growth working across time. And every year you wait is a year of that growth you cannot recover. The fourth lever is the gap between your assets and your liabilities. Your net worth doesn't just grow when you earn more or save more. It also grows when you reduce what you owe. Debt is negative net worth. Paying down a 20% interest rate credit card balance is mathematically equivalent to earning a 20% guaranteed return on an investment. No market in the world offers that. 4. Levers. Most people touch one. The people quietly building real wealth are pulling all four simultaneously, consistently. Look, I want to address something that I know is in the back of some minds right now. This is fine for people who have enough left over after the bills are paid, but my expenses are just too high right now. I'll start when things settle down. I hear this constantly, and I want to say something about it that might be a little uncomfortable to hear. For the vast majority of people saying this, it's not fully true. Not because I'm dismissing real financial hardship, which absolutely exists and is genuinely brutal, but because most people have never actually tracked every dollar they spend for 30 consecutive days. They have an approximate sense of their spending, and that approximation almost always underestimates lifestyle expenses by 20 to 40%. A 2022 study by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau found that when people were shown their actual tracked spending versus their estimated spending, the average person underestimated their discretionary spending by 31%, nearly a third. That gap, 31%, is where the savings rate hides. It's not in the big obvious categories, it's in the small automatic spends. The subscriptions you forgot about, the food delivery habit that doesn't feel like a habit, the small daily purchases that don't individually register as meaningful but collectively represent thousands of dollars a year. This is not a judgment, this is just what the data shows. And knowing it exists is the first step to finding it. So what do you actually do with all of this? Step 1. Calculate your real net worth today. Right now, after this video. Not approximately, actually. List every asset, savings, investments, property equity, retirement accounts, the current value of any vehicles you own outright. Then list every liability, mortgage balance, car loans, student loans, credit card balances, any personal debt. Subtract the second list from the first. That number is your baseline. Step 2. Run Stanley and Danko's formula. Age times gross annual income divided by 10. Compare that expected number to your actual number. Are you an average accumulator? Prodigious? Under-accumulator? The category you fall into right now is not permanent, but you cannot work toward changing it if you don't know which one you're in. Step 3. Identify which of the 4 levers is most available to you right now. If income is the constraint, focus there. If savings rate is the leak, track your spending for 30 days. Find the 31% gap and redirect it. If time is working against you because you haven't started, start today with whatever you have. Even $50 a month in an index fund today is worth more than $200 a month starting 3 years from now. If debt is suppressing your net worth, make a payoff priority list, starting with the highest interest rate first. One lever moved intentionally compounds over time into something significant. All 4 levers moved together can change the trajectory of your entire financial life within 5 years. Let me tell you about 2 people, both 40, both earning $70,000 a year. On paper, identical financial situations. Person A has been doing what most people do, earning, spending, enjoying life, telling themselves retirement is a future problem. They have $18,000 in a savings account, $22,000 in a 401k, and $35,000 in combined debt. Net worth, roughly $5,000. Person B started tracking their numbers at 28. Not obsessively. They still went on holidays, still ate out, still lived a full life. But they knew their savings rate, they automated their investments, they paid off their credit cards and kept them at 0. They drove the same reliable car for 9 years. Net worth at 40 is $340,000. Same income, same 12 years of adult working life. The difference is not luck or privilege or a windfall. The difference is a set of habits and a commitment to knowing the number. Stanley and Danko found this pattern so consistently in their research that they built their entire framework around it. Wealth is not a product of how much you earn. Wealth is a product of how deliberately you manage the gap between what you earn and what you keep. Here's the thought I want to leave you with. the number we've been talking about today, your expected net worth, your actual net worth, the gap between them. This number is not a verdict on who you are. It's a starting point. It's the GPS coordinates of where you stand right now. And GPS only becomes useful when you're honest about your current location. If you lie to the GPS and pretend you're somewhere you're not, it cannot route you to where you want to go. It will give you directions from a place that doesn't exist to a destination you'll never reach. Most people are lying to their financial GPS. Not on purpose, just by avoiding the discomfort of looking clearly at the real number. You don't have to be one of those people. Calculate the number today. Run the formula today. Find out whether you're a prodigious accumulator or an underaccumulator, or somewhere in between, because once you really know, you will have something that most people never give themselves, a clear, honest, actionable starting point. Wealth isn't built by people who earn the most. It's built by people who know their numbers and act on them. Now you know the number. What you do next is up to you. See you in the next one. Like and subscribe for more video like this.